Okay, so let's start now. Today we are going to discuss two topics on probability, that is total probability and Bayes theorem. Last time we had done this conditional probability. Okay, this we have done. So the situation is like this. We have sample space and we have condition B, and then there is an event A. So we have obtained this probability, that P, probability of happening of A when B has already happened. And this is actually equal to, we have seen that this area, that is PA intersection B upon PB. Okay. So let us remember this thing. This is one thing. And we have got result for PA intersection B, it will be equal to PB into PA/B. And similarly, we can also get another relation that will be P/A will be equal to PA intersection B upon PA. Okay, so these two relations we have got from conditional probability. So total probability so these are we have seen. Okay, so what we want to show here is that if you know this thing, this is in general true, that is probability of A when B is happened is generally not equal to probability of B when A has happened. Okay, but we can show that if we know one of the probability, then we can find the other. Okay, so this we are going to do now. This one. So this is by conditional probability. PA/B is equal to PA intersection B upon PB. This is from conditional probability. Okay, and this A intersection B equal to A. And then we can write this numerator. We can replace this as PA P/A upon PB. So now you can see that PA/B in the left hand side, PB/A in the right hand side, and therefore, if you know the one probability, we can find the other probability. So in between we have PA and PB. Now you can see that PA here and PB here. So we will try to find these probabilities now. So before saying this total probability, we can see this sample space. So sample space is not sample space, partition of sample space. So partition of sample space, it is just like this. You just partition the set like this. That's all. Okay, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. So this type of sets are called partition. So you can see the property. their union is equal to S, and their mutual intersection is phi, union is S, and they themselves are not equal to phi for all I, means they are not non-empty sets. So if these three conditions A, B, C are satisfied, we say that the collection A1, A2, An is a partition of simple spaces. Clear? Diagrammatically or geometrically, you can see like this. Okay. So these are simple A1, A2, A3, simple space. So law of total probability. So finally, we get this result. Okay, PB is equal to. So let me explain you a little bit how it is obtained. Okay, I think I should use this here. So suppose this sample space is there, and I am just taking three parts of this, say A1, A2, and A3. Okay, and then suppose B is any other event. This is event B. Okay. So we can find PB. So geometrically, you can see that this part, which part, this part. This is actually A1 intersection B. The middle part, this one, is actually A2 intersection B. And the last one is, you can see that it is A3 intersection B. And then you can see that these three sets or events are mutually exclusive. Their mutual intersection is phi. Okay, and so this B is equal to union of these three, and they themselves are mutually exclusive. And therefore, we have seen one property which says that PB will be equal to P first one is A1 intersection B plus P second one is A2 intersection B, and third one is A3 intersection B. Okay, this we get, and then we can use that conditional probability result here for each term. Okay, so we can write this P A1 intersection B as P A1 into B slash A1. Okay, plus this will be P A2 P B slash A1. A2, and finally P A3 P B slash A3. So this we consider only three partition of the simple space, and so we get PB is equal to PA1 PB slash A1 and so on. Similarly, if you take n partition of the set simple space, then you can see that we just generalize that relation for n partition. So we get this. Okay. So finally we get this result. That is called the total probability of the event B. Okay. So this is law of total probability. And then we can use the conditional probability, this result PA/B is equal to PA intersection B upon PB. And this PA intersection B can be written as okay. So leave it as it is. This one or yes. So this we want actually. This can be written as VA B/. So this part can be written as, numerator can be written as PA PB/A. Okay. The left hand side is PA/B. And therefore, from this relation, we can find, if you replace A by A1, so we can find PA1 oblique B is equal to PA1 PB/A1 in denominator. Now, denominator comes from law of total probability. Okay, this will be plus here. Similarly, if you want to find PA2/B, so this will be PA2. Okay, right? So in general, that result will be AI here, AI here, AI here, and then I is equal to 1, 2, 3 up to. So this is Bayes' theorem. So we'll see this application of these two. We'll try to find these probabilities now. The special cases is this one. Just take, suppose this is sample space, and then suppose we have an event A. Okay. So if A is there, then A dash is also there, and A union A dash is equal to S. So this is actually a partition of S. Okay. And therefore, if there is a event B, then we can apply law of total probability here and law of Bayes' theorem also. Okay. So just we have two partition here. A1 is A, A2 is A dash. Okay. So what is given actually? We are given only two things: event A and event B. So with the help of event A, we can get partition, and therefore we can find the probability of A, B. So let us see some these are some special example. Okay. So this first one, customers who purchase a certain make of car can order an engine in any of the three sizes. Of all cars sold, 45% have the smallest engine, 35% have the medium size, and 20% have the largest. And also given are of cars with the smallest engine, 10% fail on emissions test with 2 years of purchase, while 12% of those with the medium size and 15% of those with the largest engine. So question is, what is the probability that a randomly chosen car will fail on emission test within 2 years? Now, if we want to apply law of total probability or base curve, then what we have to see? Okay. So you just remember that figure. We have to get a partition of S. So S is there. Okay. We have to get a partition, and then there is an event B inside S. Okay. So now you can see that from this example, all cars sold 45% have the smallest, 35% medium, and 25. So this is partition of the cars sold. Okay. So there is a partition, there is a partition. That is 45%, 35%, and then we have 20%. So these are our A1, A2, A3, right? Then what we required probability that a randomly chosen car will fail an emission test. So this is another event. Okay. So that we can take here. Then this emission test is failed by any of the car. So this is your B. Now what is B? B is the event that a car chosen fails emission test. Okay, within 2 years. So we can take this. So now we have identified A1, A2, A3, and B correctly. Then you just apply this rule. Okay. So in this case, what will be PB then? So PB. Now PB is equal to PA1 into P B/A1. Then second term will be RA2 P B/A2, and similarly you have third term, that is PA3 into PB/A2. So now you find these probabilities from the problem. PA1, that is probability that the car belongs to this part, that is A1. So it is 45%. Okay, so PA1 is 45%, that is 0.45. PA2 is 0.35, and PA3 is 0.20. Okay, now second part, B/A1. So probability of car failing an emission test within 2 years when the engine is small. A1 means engine is small. Okay. Now this percentage is given as here 10%. Okay. So PB/A1 is 10%, that is 0.10. Similarly, PB/A2. What is the meaning of this? It is probability that a car which has mid-size engine fails an emission test, that is 12%. And last one is 15%. So you can see that we have all the probabilities. So you can just put them to find the probability, right? B, that is probability of a car failing an emission test within 2 years of purchase. All right. If anybody has any problem or doubt, ask me. Now, similarly, take another example. So, this one. Assume that a noisy channel independently transmits symbols, say 0 60% of the time and 1 40% of the time. Now, at the receiver, there is a 1% chance of obtaining any particular symbol distorted. So, what is the probability of receiving a 1 irrespective of which symbol is transmitted? Okay. So, here again, you keep that figure in mind. So, what is your simple space? Partition. So, partition, you can see that 0 and 1, 0, 60%, 1, 40%. And then what is your, this is also important, fixing B. Okay, the event B. So event B, what we want actually, what is the probability of receiving 1? So let us B be the event of receiving 1. Okay, so this is our probability say. Okay, so this is your A1, A2, okay, B1, right? So what will be PV then? So you can see that if we use total probability formula, then PV will be PA1 into P slash A1. And then similarly second term will come here. Because we have only two parts of S, so there will be two terms here. Right? Now PA1, it is obvious 60% and PA2 is 40%. B slash A1. Now what is the meaning of B slash A1? So this is probability of receiving 1 when 0 is transmitted. A1, B slash A1. A1 is 0 is transmitted and A2 is 1 is transmitted. So this is probability of receiving 1 when 0 is transmitted. Now you see this sentence here. There is a chance of obtaining any particular symbol distorted. There is 1% chance of obtaining any particular symbol distorted. So whether you transmit 0 or transmit 1, chance is equal. That is 1% will be maybe distorted. So this probability is same for both PB slash A1 and PB slash A2. So in this way you can find PB. So this problem you can see, I'm not going to explain. Let me see one problem of Bayes theorem. So this fourth we can see here. So suppose a statistics class contains 70% male and 30% female students. Okay. Now it is known that in a test, 5% of males and 10% of females got an A grade. Okay. Now if one student from this class is randomly selected and observed to have an A grade, what is the probability that this is a male student? Okay. So what is the probability that this is a male student? So this is your event B. Okay. What is event B? This. we want. So this will be B. Okay, probability that the student is a male student. So event of sorry, male student. Okay. So from this class is randomly selected in order to have an A grade. What is the probability? This is a male student. So let us not say B will be this. In fact, I'm not. So what we do, it looks like it has only two parts. Okay. So I'm not getting space here. Okay. So this one. %70 female student and 30% male student. Okay, this is there. 70%. Oh, sorry, 70% male and 30% female. So this is male here. And obtain A grade. It is known that in a test, 5% of male and 10% of females got an A grade. So this we have to take. Say another event of getting A grade. Okay. So now we have three things: being a male, being female, and obtaining A grade. Okay. So obtaining A grade, this will be our event obtaining A grade. Okay, and therefore we can find PV from total log total probability. Okay, that will be equal to, suppose if I say this A1, this A2, then it will be same formula PA1 plus sorry into B/A1 and then second. So we can get this probability P. In this PPT, it is denoted by T. Okay. This is one thing. Now, second, what is our objective? Our objective is, so this is not, leave this. Our objective is, if one student from this class is randomly selected and observed to have an A grade, what is the probability that this is a male student? So male student obtaining A grade. Okay. So male student, you can see that this part is A. So A/D. We know that the student has obtained A grade. So what is the probability that is coming from A1? That is, and therefore you have to find this P A1/D or in here A1/D. Okay. So these all probabilities are there. PA1 is 70%, PA2 is 30%. Okay. Now PD/A1. The PD/A1 means the probability of obtaining A grade when or by male student. Okay, so this is given here 5%. I think it is known that in a test 5% of males. So male getting A grade probability is 5% and female getting A grade is 10%. So these two probabilities are also there. Okay, and therefore we can find this. So in this way you can use Bayes theorem to find the conditional probability. So I think you can see these problems. I should move forward to. So next topic is random variable. If you have anything to ask, you can ask about total probability and Bayes theorem.
Yeah, sir. I think till now it is okay. There is no problem. Only
Okay.
thing I have to tell these guys is that they have to go home and then revise the PPTs and they have to see additional videos to fully
Yeah,
understand the concepts.
yeah,
If they just listen now and don't do anything for 15 days, everything they will forget.
yeah,
That's what I wanted to tell. That's all.
yeah. It is very obvious. So discrete random variable we have continuous random variable. Okay. So I think I will move a little fast here. These are very conceptual things. One, two notations are important. We should know. Okay. And then finally that Chebyshev inequality. I think that will be important. So we'll see this. So let us come directly to definition of random variable. So this random variable is a function from sample space S into the set of real number R. Okay. So the first thing we are defining here is random variable denoted by X. So it is a function from sample space to set of real. All right. This is first thing. So for example, in case of tossing a coin, if you take sample space contain only two elements, 0 and 1. So function will be or the image set will have only two elements, image of 0, image of 1. So this is actually that thing that is called space of the random variable X. So second thing is space, and this space is denoted by Rx. So X is random variable, space is, so this is actually image of X, or we can say range of X. Okay. So set theoretically we define like this. This is X belongs to R. So X will be in the space only if it is image of some element of S. That is X is equal to XS. So if there exists a small s, which is element of capital S, such that image of this s is equal to X, then X will be in the space which is denoted by Rx. This is second thing. So for example, you can see that S is head and tail, So suppose the value of x head is 0, x tail is 0. So this set will be our Rx. So what will be our Rx? So Rx will be 0, 1. Okay. So this Rx will be 0, 1. So this is another example, I think, that you can see. This notation I want to see. This is important actually. These are important notations. So x is equal to x. So this is in fact a notation. We are not equating two things here. Okay, but this is a notation. So what this notation means? So by x is equal to x, we mean the event. So this is an event actually. Okay, this is an event, or in fact a set of events. So these are events. Now which events? So definitely this small s will be element of capital S, because all the events are coming from sample space, and therefore this S. Now those events will be element of this whose images is equal to this element x. So this is x S is equal to x. Okay, so this notation we should be very clear in mind that this is an event in fact. So bracket x is equal to x is what? This is an event, maybe more than one event. Okay, so this is a set. Okay. For example, you just take this. This is my S, and this is say R. Okay, and somewhere I have element say x0. Okay, and suppose this S1, S2, and S3. So if only three elements S1, S2, S3 are having images x0, then what will be x is equal to x0? This will be set S1, S2, S3. This is the meaning of this notation. Okay, so this is a set of events. Similarly, if a capital X between A and B, then what is the meaning? Okay, so this capital X between A and B is again a set of events such that set of all those events here actually this S is missing here. Okay, so this XS is a real number. You know that X is a function from sample space to real number. So this XS is a real number, and therefore we can compare A, B, and XS. So if XS lies between A and B, okay, then this event is an element of this set. Okay, because later on when we will see that you'll see this type of notation: probability x is equal to x, probability A less than x less than B. Okay, and ultimately probability we find of an event. Okay, so this is actually event. and therefore P A less than X less than B is meaningful. All right. So these things are geometrically given here, whatever I said. Okay. So if X is countable, okay, the space of X is countable. The space is countable. What is the space? It is Rx, and it is in fact range of X. So space is countable. X is called discrete random variable. Discrete random variable. If X is not countable, it will be continuous. So then we define some functions again, distribution functions. So the first function that is known as PMF, that is probability, okay, mass function. Okay. So you'll see that in most of the book you will find these two word, mass and density. Probability density function, probability mass function. So in most of the book, probability mass function is used for discrete random variable. Okay, and probability density function is used for continuous random variable. So when we use a continuous or study continuous random variable, you use the same function. What? Probability density function. In some book, I think they have written the same thing, or both probability density function, I think, or both DRB and CRB. So which I think is not true. So mostly you'll find these two things: probability mass function, probability density function, and these are functions. Okay, so let us see what is probability mass function. So this is a function from space into R. This is a function from Rx into R. So what we have done so far, if you remember, first we defined X, which is a function from S into R. Then we defined a space Rx, which is range, and in between we have notation. Now we have third thing, discrete or continuous, that also we have seen, and now we have PMF. Okay, so PMF, probability mass function. So this is a function whose value at any point X of Rx is probability X is equal to X. Okay, probability X is equal to X. And then you can see that, so just remember, X is equal to X is an event. Okay, so just see this example. I think all the concept we have so far will be cleared from this. So a box contains 5 colored ball, 2 black and 3 white. Okay, so 5 balls are there, 2 blacks and 3 white. Balls are drawn successively without replacement. Okay, without replacement, keep this thing in mind. If the random variable X is the number of draws until the last black ball is obtained. Okay, if the random variable X is the number of draws until the last black ball is obtained, find the probability mass function for the random variable x. So in this problem, you see we have all the things. So let B denote the black ball. How many black balls are there? 2 black balls. Okay. So what are the cases? So this is first case is first draw black ball, second draw is again black. We can stop. Okay. If not, first is black, second is white, and then third is black. We can stop. First is white, second is black, third is black. We can stop like this. So you can see that these are all possibilities. Okay. For this experiment. Then see the probabilities. So these are all the cases. So there are 2. So what is x? Our random variable x is number of draws. How many draws required to get both the black balls? So here you can see that we need only 2 draws. Here 3. In this case also 3. Then 4, 4, 4. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. All these cases 5. So these values are given. So this is the value of, and therefore in this case you can see that Rx, that is sample. Sorry, this is space. Okay, so space will be set containing 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, what is our objective? Our final objective is to find PMF, probability mass function. And what is probability mass function? Okay, it is Fx is equal to Px is equal to S. So we have obtained this Rx. Now let us find the images of each element of Rx. So we have to find the images of each element of Rx. So our PMF is a function f from Rx into R such that f of x is equal to probability of x is equal to x. Right? So let us take example this 2. So what is F2? So F2 will be P x is equal to 2. Okay. Now x is equal to 2. Can you tell me what is P x is equal to 2 to this? There's someone.
Yes, sir. Px equals to 2 should be this is probability of doing it in just 2 answers, no? That should be 1 divided by the size of sample space.
Now Px is equal to 2. So x is equal to 2 is an event. Okay. So what is, let us take what is this event? X is equal to 2. So what is the event? This is actually only one BB. Okay.
Yes, sir. So 1 divided by the size of sample space.
Yes. So we have only one case here, BB. Okay. and therefore this is 1 upon total. So total is 14. Okay. So now I think you will get very easily. Similarly, P3. So P3 is equal to P x is equal to 3, and that is actually P. What is x is equal to 3? There are two cases. Okay. So these cases you can write, and therefore this will be 2 upon 14, right? So these are values are okay now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10 are this is not actually the total. Total cases are simple space is this. This is 10. These are the number of draws required. Okay, sorry. So this is actually 0. Total 10 cases. So 2 by 10. So in this way, we have F2, F3, F4, F5. Now these values can be expressed in terms of this function. Okay, because here the number of numbers are very small with just 4 elements. So we can get a formula like that. But if the numbers is very large or continuous case, then it may not be possible to express the thing in function from the values actually. Okay. So I think the whatever we have discussed so far, random variable, space, probability mass function, and these notations, all the things are clear now. So again, another example of dice is there, so that you can see. These are the probabilities of properties of probability mass function. So they must be positive or 0, and total value must be equal to 1. Because these are probabilities, no? So probabilities total value must be equal to 1. So this function is greater than or equal to 0 always, then total f is equal to 1. All these things are will do for continuous. Only the difference in case of continuous, you see that instead of summation notation, we will use integral notation. Okay, otherwise the things are similar. So these problems you can see, the simple one, probability of random variable, this what is the value of k, I think you have to opt in. So you can use this last condition, that is summation of fx is equal to 1. So this condition will give you the value of k. This is important, cumulative distribution function, CDF. So this capital Fx, we have defined PMF, that is small f. Okay. So this capital Fx is now cumulative distribution function. Now this is equal to, so small f was what? This is actually P x is equal to x. This fx is equal to P x is equal to x, but then this is capital F, that is CDF, is equal to Px less than or equal to x. Okay. So from the definition, we can see that x less than or equal to x. You can see that this, rather this will be equal to summation ft p less than or equal to x. Okay. So the values all ft such that t less than or equal to x will get. from this, we can find, for example, random variables. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5. Okay. So if you know capital F 5 and know 4, then we can take the difference to find F4, I think, or F5 like this. You can see this table. So Fx1 is equal to Fx1, but Fx2 is equal to Fx2 minus Fx1. Okay, so it is like this. X1 is there, X2 is there, X3 is there, like this. So at this value, both small and capital are same. Okay, but here if you give cumulative, you have to add these two values. Okay, so this Fx2 is equal to actually sum of these two values, that is Fx1 plus Fx2. This is the meaning of cumulative, you know that. Okay, and therefore we can find this Fx2 as Fx2 minus Fx1, and this Fx1 is actually capital Fx1, and therefore we get this. So we can get these things. This diagram is there, and then probability mass function of random variable x whose CDF is this. So if CDF is given, you have to find a small f. So capital F is there, you have to find a small f, and you can use this we can say formula. Okay, so we can, in this way we can find the capital F value or CDF value. All right, using this. So these problems you can see not difficult. Moments, I think I should leave here.
Professor Patel, this expected value, I think we need to do sometime.
Yeah,
It's important.
Expected is required.
Yeah.
But these moments we can do. Then moment generating function maybe we can leave, because
Sure,
moment generating function is another way of obtaining these things. Okay,
yeah.
so that we can leave, but we should definitely know this expected value and variance, or in general EXN.
Yeah, yeah.
So moments, if you see these moments, what kind in basic statistics also. Okay, and there we have defined it like this. Moments, we have two types of moments. Moment about mean, and moments about arbitrary values. Arbitrary value. Okay, these two types of moments we have seen there. If you remember, this moment about mean is denoted by mu r, and moment about arbitrary values are denoted by mu r this. But now you see that that definitions, we will write this definition in terms of expected value ex. Okay. So this one, ex to the power n. There's something missing here. This is actually x to the power n f x. Okay. So this is moment about origin. Now their moment about origin was new artist that is equal to this is summation xi minus 0 to the power r I is equal to 1 to e. So this thing and upon I think upon n. Okay. This was the definition. So about origin, which is 0, xi minus 0 to the power r upon n, and height it is a frequency distribution. So this fi will come here if the frequency of xi is fi, and this small n then become capital N. Okay, this was the definition there. But now what we are saying? We are saying that moment about origin is denoted by x ex to the power n. Okay. So let us see whether we get the same thing here or not. Now, for example, if you take say first moment, and let us take the simplest case, that x1, x2, xn, each having frequency 1. Okay, so this will be xi to the power 1 or xi summation. So what this become summation xi upon n. Okay, in the simplest case, this become. Now this you can see that you can write this xi into 1 upon n. No problem, because 1 upon n is independent of the variable I. So we can take it inside the summation sign. So what is this actually? And we assume that what we assume here, that each value have equal chance of being selected. Okay. So x1, if you are selecting n elements, so x1 is having probability of 1 by n, x2 is having probability of 1 by n, x3 is having probability. So this is nothing but probability. So this is value and it's a probability. So similarly here also you can see that x and this is probability fx. Okay, because fx is what it is. F is PMF, probability mass function. So fx is probability of x. Okay, so both are same thing. Okay, and therefore about origin, this is e x to the power n is defined as x to the power n fx. So provided the right hand side converges absolutely. Okay, if it converges, then it has some meaning, otherwise no problem. Otherwise problem. So n is equal to 1. You'll see that first moment about the origin, n is equal to 2 is called the second moment. In general, no problem. And from this ex is expected value, and from ex square we can find the variance of x. So there also we have seen that the first moment gives expected or mean, and the second moment gives variance. So here also we can get these things. Expected value is mean, and from ex square we'll get the variance. So I think I should stop here. Because it will take
Sure, sir, no problem.
some properties of expectations are there, then variance, and finally this inequality. So I think we'll do next time, Monday. So this so Monday we will do this part and remaining part of this, and then continuous random variable. So continuous is very similar to this. Okay. So okay, I'm stopping now.